Alright, picture this. It's 1990 and 7-Eleven in the US is in real trouble. We're talking about their second bankruptcy filing. This isn't just a bad year. This is we may not make it territory. For a company that was originally founded in 1927 in Dallas, Texas, you'd think they'd have the retail game locked down by now, right? But it wasn't that simple. The US operations were struggling because they were stuck relying on outdated strategies. Most of the stores were attached to gas stations. And while that seemed smart back in the day, things were changing.
Ever since flooding in Texas caused an oil spill, gas prices haven't been the same.
Gas wasn't bringing in as much money, and cigarette sales were dropping like a rock. 7-Elevens were depending heavily on these two products, and when they started losing steam, the company's profits took a nosedive. It was an absolute disaster. A Japanese company called Ito-Yokado swoops in to save the day. But why Japan? Well, Ito-Yokado wasn't just any random company. They were already running 7-Elevens in Japan. And those stores? They were doing insanely well. We're talking about a whole different level of success. In Japan, 7-Eleven had become more than just a place to grab a soda or fill up on gas. These stores were a part of everyday life, and people relied on them for fresh food, daily essentials, and way more. Ito-Yokado knew how to run these stores like nobody else, and they saw an opportunity to bring their successful Japanese model to the US operations. But here's the thing. When Ito-Yokado took over the US stores, they quickly realized something. It wasn't just about slapping their logo on everything and calling it a day. The US and Japanese operations were fundamentally different. Get this. You'd think, since it's the same brand, they'd be running things similarly, right? Nope. They were like night and day. In the US, the stores were big, relying on selling gas and cigarettes and not changing their inventory much. Restocking? Slow and clunky. They'd restock the shelves twice a week with these huge, bulky deliveries. And that was it. Meanwhile, in Japan, 7-Elevens were small, hyper-efficient, and completely customer-focused. They sold fresh food, like seriously fresh, prepared daily. And they were constantly restocking. Not just twice a week, but twice a day. Yeah, twice a day. They'd refresh their inventory to make sure the shelves always had the freshest options, and they used advanced customer data to decide exactly what to stock. Here's where things get exciting. Ito-Yokado didn't just take over the US stores and sit back. They rolled up their sleeves and completely overhauled the entire system. And when I say overhaul, I mean they transformed how 7-Eleven in the US operated. First, they adopted a lot of what was working in Japan. They reduced the reliance on gas and cigarettes and started focusing more on products that people actually wanted: fresh food, drinks, snacks, and essentials. Then they brought in Japan's genius restocking strategy. Instead of slow restocks twice a week, they began focusing on rapid inventory turnover, restocking daily to keep things fresh and appealing. But that wasn't all. They brought in Japan's sophisticated customer tracking technology to understand buying habits. This meant they weren't just stocking the same old products, they tailored their inventory to what the customers actually needed. And guess what? This strategy worked. By the mid-1990s, the results were crystal clear. 7-Elevens in the US weren't just scraping by, they were thriving. The real game changer? Fresh food. Fresh food became a massive part of their business. No longer were people just stopping by for gas and snacks. Now they were grabbing meals, sandwiches, and salads. Fresh, convenient, and ready to go. Today, 7-Eleven is the largest convenience store chain in the world, with over 78,000 locations in 19 countries. And here's the kicker. Most of those stores are in Asia, where the Japanese model of convenience store perfection is still driving massive success. The changes that Ito-Yokado brought to the US didn't just save the company, they set the standard for how 7-Elevens around the world operate today. So the next time you pop into a 7-Eleven, just remember, if it weren't for Japan, that Slurpee machine might not even be there. Ito-Yokado didn't just save 7-Eleven, they redefined what a convenience store could be. From fresh food to rapid restocks and smart customer data, they turned a failing US brand into the global powerhouse we see today. Who knew Japan was the unsung hero behind one of the most iconic convenience store chains in the world?